In this video, we are going to look at inserting basic math and statistic functions. So the first one we're going to look at is the count function. So the count function tallies the number of cells in a range that contains values that you can use in calculations. So this has to be numerical values or date data. It excludes blank cells or text entries from the tally. So it cannot be text or anything else other than numbers. So let's go take a look at that. So I can look at how many entries there are in the marks column here in the final score. So I'm going to go equals count, and I'm going to select from F3 to F9. Sorry, E3 to E9 here, close the parentheses and press enter. So there are 5 entries there, even though I have selected up to 8 and 9, but there's nothing in there, so it doesn't count those, okay? So let's go take a look at the rest of the PowerPoint slide. So count blank function tallies the number of cells in the range that are also blank. So if over here I had used count blank, right? Okay, enter. Oh. So it would look at the ones that are blank, that are missing in value. Okay, so there's 2 that are blank here. Okay, now let's go take a look at the next one, count A. So this one tallies the number of cells in a range that are not blank. So any cell that contains data, whether be it a value, a text, or a formula. So this is good for if I wanted to see how many students there are in this column. I can go equals count A, and here we go. Actually, I'm just gonna select all here, and there's 5 students, okay? If I had just used count instead of count A for this column, it would return it as 0 because it only counts the numerical value. So if I wanted to count how many students, and I have to use count A because only then will it count the cells that have text data. Okay. So moving on, you can also use the min and max functions. So obviously the min function analyzes an argument list to determine the lowest value in there, such as like the lowest score on a test, and the max looks at the highest score on a test. Okay, so let's go take a look. I'm just going to clear, I'm just going to clear all this extra stuff here. Clear contents. Clear contents. All right, so I'm going to look at the min and the max. Okay, so that's just text there. So this is where I enter the function min equals min. So the minimum is, which is the lowest score here, it will be 65, okay? And which is the highest score here? Equals, sorry, not max here. Oh, what did I do wrong there? So max, oh, I didn't enter the argument, so there we go. The highest score is 90, okay? And then going back to here, I can also look at the average and the median. The average calculates the arithmetic mean or average for the values in a range of cells. So the average is going to ignore empty cells or cells containing text. Okay, here we go. So if I go, this is average. Okay, and then this is where I'm going to type in the formula. And I can't remember if it's AVG or average, so I'm just going to start typing it, and then I have the autocomplete pop-ups. Isn't that nice? So average, and then average of this would be, there we go, 76.4. And then we also have the mean. What is the mean? The mean is finds the midpoint, which is the value that 1/2 of the data is set above or below. The median is useful because extreme values often influence the average, right? So here you can actually find out what the middle is. So I'm going to go to here and look at the median, and equals median, Oops, again, I did that too early, so I have to click on that, and then in the parentheses, select the range. There we go. So the median is 75. The average is 76.4. The lowest mark is 65, and the maximum is 90. All right. You can also nest functions as arguments. So a nested function occurs when a function is embedded as an argument within another function. So each function has its own sets of arguments that must be included. For example, you could round the average. So let's do that. Let's go round the average to decimal point of 2. Actually, maybe decimal point of, let's say, 0. Try that. Okay, so let's say round average. So I'm going to round the average. Give a little bit more room there. So equals round. Okay, and I'm going to round the average of this. All right, 2. Oh, actually, I can do it too. Sorry, that's not decimal points. This is, I'm going to round it to to 2 numerical digits. So it's going to round it to 74, I believe. So I'm going to close the parentheses, go enter. Oh, so that didn't work. Okay. Maybe I'll try 0 here. There we go. Sorry, so it is decimal points that you're rounding off to. So I'm going to round it off to 0 decimal points. So that's why I have the 0 as the arguments here, as an argument here. And then here I'm rounding the average of the final scores in there. And of course, there's a number of ways to do that, right? You can also go equals round. The average is already here, so I can click on that and then go 0. That would also round it, right? Go 76. Okay. And you don't always have to reference or put a formula in there. You can just use it as a simple function of its own. You can round any number you want here, 76.4. You can round that number to 0 decimal points, and that should also return the same number. Okay, but what I wanted to show you here, the round average, is that you can nest a function inside of a function. Okay, go, and let's move on. So I just want to talk about how round is different than decreasing decimal points. So when you click decrease decimal number, decrease decimal in the number group to display fewer or no digits after a decimal point, Excel is still going to store the original value's decimal places. So these values are still being used in calculations. It's just being displayed differently. But the round actually changes the value to that specified number of decimal places. So what I mean is, so right now, this value of E13 is actually only 76 now. It's no longer 76.4. However, if you go here to average and you right click and you format the cell and you go to number and you change the decimal place here, okay, it shows 76, but it still stores it in its memory. The value of this is actually still 76.4 because you can go back and change that. Okay. And you still get 76.4, right? So format cells, actually added 1 decimal place too many. So it's still there. It's still 76.4. It didn't lose it. As opposed to here, if you go there, right, and format cells and you add the decimal place, it's now 76. It's no longer 76.4.